Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone, depending on where you are joining us from. Well, we still have a few people logging in, so we are going to give them a minute or two to get settled, and then we will get underway. Okay, I think we are ready to go. We can start. So first of all, thank you for joining us for today's webinar, R&D microplots monitoring by Agrimo. Before I introduce our other two speakers and myself, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. So today's webinar is being recorded. That means that you will be able to access it on the event link after the event is completed. We welcome you to revisit the content yourself and to share it also with your colleagues. We also invite you to write comments and questions. You will see a comment and question box on your right side. Please look at the Q&A chat. If you want to add something, even if somebody gave a good comment. If you think of a question at any point, just type it. I will either pose it to our speakers during the Q&A, or somebody from Agrimo team might even type an answer during the event. The point is that whatever you ask us, we will answer it, whether during the event or through the chat box, or even after the event via email. Today, we shall share insights into modern technology that enables easier, standardized, and more efficient evaluation of agrochemical and seed trial plots. And I'm hoping that you will better understand the benefits of Agrimo artificial intelligence technology and how we can contribute to trial evaluations, as well of some the latest functionalities of our Agrimo R&D microplot monitoring product. The good part, we have two amazing young guys with us. Luckily, I can call them my friends also, and thank you for joining us. With us are Dr. Zdravko Hojka, coming from KWS, German seed producer, with who I have been working on different projects for years, and also Nikola, who is part of Agrimo team, who will do a demo for us later. Gentlemen, I will let you say a couple of words about yourself before we move on. Dr. Zdravko, we can start with you, please. Could you introduce yourself?
Hello from my side. Hello to everyone. Thank you, Johan, especially for these young guys. It's very nice from your side. What to say? I'm working at KWS almost 13, 14 years. I don't know yet. It's a long period. Before that, I was in Maize Research Institute in Zemun Polje, in seed production department, around 10 years. In KWS, I'm working in position on agro service and product manager. And I had some experience in education. I worked in one private small faculty of agriculture, around 22 years. Until now, I am thinking that's all for this introduction.
Impressive.
from my side. Yeah.
Impressive. I have taste for good friends. So thank you for introducing yourself. Nicola, who is also with us, part of Agrimo team. Nicola, please.
Thanks, Johan. Hello, everyone. My name is Nicola. I've been working in Agrimo for several years. Together with product team, I worked on developing a new product line that will be showcasing today.
Okay, so before we move on, I will just give a short reminder of what Agrimo is, who we are, and what do we do. Some of you might know that Agrimo is an AI-based precision agriculture software on which we have started working back in 2015 with a lot of success. And our mission at the beginning was, and our motivation was, to provide agricultural professionals with accurate, actionable, and useful crop information that can help them improve their ops. The whole system is actually quite intuitive, as you will see, very easy to use, but we can say that 3 steps are the pillars of its workflow. The first step is data collection and the creation of an aerial map. Even though Agrimo can process aircraft and satellite imagery as well, for today's case, we are going to focus solely on drones. After we have a drone map, with just a couple of steps, you will be able to request an appropriate report on our app. And in the background, our, like I said, artificial intelligence back system is going to identify and quantify the required parameters for particular crop. Once that is done, you will receive results and report on your crops, and you can put that to use for your further research and operations. Agrimo is present globally. We have customers in more than 100 countries, and so far we have managed to process in our system more than 100 crops, and we are really happy that we can say that some of our partners are very successful in their agricultural operations, and we are very proud because our farmers are giving us trust to work on their crops season after season. So in a nutshell, this is what Agrimo is, who we are, and where do we do our fantastic job. Zdravko, good day to you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. Before we move on to small trial plots, I have to ask you, I mean, we've been discussing this. How long have we known each other? Is it like 5 years now? Something like that.
Yes, you are younger, and maybe you can easily remember which period is it. I think that is almost 5 years. We are together in contact in different projects. Maybe I can say later or after your introduction shortly about our project in digital. But you are right, around 5 very long years.
I'll take that as a compliment. But for people who don't know, we actually didn't start working together on small trial plots. Zdravko, you are actually one of the early adopters of the technology. As I remember, in 2017, we were shaping a project together with you and KWS with a specific goal, and goal was a little bit oriented toward the growers back then. You were the spearhead of that project, and as you said, it would be good just to give a short intro. What was your idea back then regarding this venture of ours?
Yes, generally not myself, but generally KWS, especially in the region of Southeast Europe, recognized the importance of applying digital technologies in agriculture and launched this digital project. As I said, we called it Digital Forecast 5 years ago with Agremo company, in order for farmers to be able to properly use all the potentials of hybrids. We realized that the use of digital platforms is one of the most important procedures. On such platforms, farmers can monitor the most important parameters in plant development and thus receive informations in short time, in short period. One such information is the estimation of the yield. This is the crucial thing. It is always important for crop producers to estimate their corn yields to know what to expect at harvest. There might be a large variation in yield within fields, and from one field to the next, depending on the hybrid selection for the first, date of planting, and field uniformity. There are 5 components of corn yield that can be measured: plants per hectare or acre, depending of the geography. Ears per plant, rows per ear, kernels per row, and kernel weight. And we are in focus on that in these projects.
Yeah, I actually remember this was the start, let's say, of the road that got us to small trial plots. But as you mentioned, plants per hectare, I wanted to ask you, so accurate number of plants often isn't easy to collect. As you told me, it can vary across the field for several reasons, or maybe I'm wrong.
The number of plants is one of the most important yield factors in corn production. Although this is one of the factors that can be relatively easily controlled, but in the practically, there are many mistakes in determining the appropriate sowing rate. This is sometimes very complicated for them. That is why our company KWS has launched this digital project in order to closely monitor the condition of crops during the season. In this case, we can see that plant number is one of the most important factors, one of the most important factors in which determining yield of corn. But sometimes our approach for this is very simple. But at the end, it can be very complicated to see the exact number of plants what we have in some fields.
Yeah. So what I have now is actually something that brings us when you realized, if I remember correctly, that you could use this technology also for something else. As we can see, the bird eye view on this slide now, it gave us, or in this case, gave you a different perspective. And with Agrimo AI, it was really easy to collect information and quantify some parameters that are, as you said, aren't easy to get always. So this is the moment when you realized that you could use this technology also for your trials and actually assist yourself as well with this kind of tech. And your work is related to today's topic, which are small plot trials. How would you describe the trial rating process, the way you used to do it, traditional on-foot scouting? Could you give us just an intro about that?
Yes. Generally, in the process of selecting and testing hybrids, all companies use small plots as the most accurate methodology. With this method of testing, the quality of test is of great importance for the final result. In such experiments, we try to reduce the influence of agroecological factors and focus only or mostly on the characteristics of the genotype of hybrids. Traits that are, I think, could be or should be very interesting for manual and comparison to software analysis are first plant number per row or per plot, plant vigor, plant height, stay green, and some of the parameters in field, such as field condition like elevation, a presence of weeds in field, and mechanical damages of plants.
I have to ask you just one thing. You mentioned now traits as in plural, so you are paying closer attention to several things. And from your experience, Zdravko, could you tell us, walking around, visually inspecting and collecting multiple sets of data, like you said, like number of plants per row, maybe something in addition to that, whether that's weed or rating of vigor. That sounds to me a little bit exhausting, maybe even boring after some time inefficient. Am I wrong? I'm not somebody who walked the field, but I'm really curious to understand that.
Yes, maybe you are wrong in some cases not, because some of these traits are necessary to be taken from the field manually by me or by colleagues. But generally, some of them are very exhausted, as you said, like numbering of plant numbering. So we need to spend a lot of time in such fields for some very, very simple manually work. If we try to push some labors in the field to speed up the process, it can be a danger because maybe we cannot get the same information like we did it. So some of these traits are determined by counting or measuring, like plant number, plant height, while others are evaluated with descriptive grades. These activities require a lot of time and professional workforce, and therefore the use of digital tools can be a great help in increasing the efficiency in performing such activities, such tasks.
Yeah, I understand. So basically, the more work you have to do, it is really hard to do it unless you have some additional help. But you said those people have to be trained professionals, so you can rely actually on that data.
You need time to train the people, and after that, always you have a possibility to get results which are not compared. Not comparing with some scales what we have. For these activities, you need some experience, some knowledge, and in the first look, this is not so complicated. But when you're spending a lot of time in the field, you can have different problems like exhausting or something like that, walking the field in the sun and in the open space. This is sometimes expensive, and need a lot of pressure and lot of time, and always the time is money, as we know.
Yeah, yeah. And from what you said, especially in summer days, after you get fatigued by sun, even your accuracy could be questionable.
Yes, but we are tough and young, as you said, and
Exactly.
we are unbeatable.
Okay. Um, um, we are seeing a gap here, and obviously this is an important part because you circled it. But what I wanted to ask you, how big of a setback is for you to check that gap? Because I'm guessing that you have to measure it or do something with it.
Yeah, as we said, the number of plants is one of the simple parameter on the first glance, but this parameter can drastically affect the quality of the experiments and the final results. That is why it is very important to have as accurate data as possible on the number of plants, and especially data for row gaps. Gaps are spaces without plants. As you see on the slide, this is one typically microplot, small plot trials in corn. This is very good trial due to the quality parameters, because you can see that whole space is full of plants, but always you can find some gaps. You can see that this is short distance of this plot, 7 to 10 meters, 4 rows of each plot. It means that every damage can be drastically, especially big damage, can be drastically influenced on plot quality and the final result. So our task is to collecting the plant numbers from one side, and from the other side to collect the quality parameters, which are gaps, damages, plant damages, and some mistakes in planting, and so on and so on. So there are parameters which are very important for final result. So you can see the acreage of this field. It's very big, long number of plots. This is very important. It is necessary to keep in mind that manually counting can be significantly affected by overstrain on the labors of the workforce, any kind, poor stimulation, and when you have big fields like this is, you can find a lot of mistakes in this manually work, and you have to be very careful when you get data from other persons. To include this data in statistics, and to evaluate the final results in general.
In a few conversations already with colleagues of yours from other companies, we saw that they're losing simply time and focus with something like this. That's why I asked taking out a measuring tape, getting to the gap, etc. And we actually can do this on a tool such as Agrimo, like this in a couple of seconds. In 2018, 2017, 2018, you started using Agrimo. We could say even as a beta. I mean, you were a very early adopter. And I wanted to ask you, since I know that you did some measurements, you did some experiments, etc. What swayed you to use drones and Agrimo even at that early stage? I mean, I know the answer. We were very good even back then, weren't we? But I would like to hear it from you a little bit.
I don't know. Maybe the reason is that I met you this time.
Thank
and
you.
You offered something which is very close to my picture of speeding up work in such workspace. And this was very interesting experience and some kind of testing your software by myself to see how it works, and maybe others can see this graph. I put some results on the graph. You can see in this graph some analyzing of plant number in rows in corn small plot trial. You can see the plant number by manual counting and plant number made by Agremo software, and some correlation between these results. And you can see that results are very close to each other. A certain scattering of data can be seen, but despite that, the positive correlation is still high. So for my experience, this was the message for me, that we can use such platforms to get results, very accurate results, and very fast delivery results. Maybe you can show the next graph, which is the same thing, but in sunflower small plot trial with some problems in seed emergence. And this is more or less the same length of rows, same surface acreage of the plots, but the number of the plants are smaller. But this is the message. These results can tell us, okay, when the plant number is smaller, the difference between manual counting and the software counting is much more similar, and the correlation is higher. So we can see the trend that correlation between manual and software counting is very close. I can say that manual counting is sometimes very dangerous, because as I said, you have problems after 3-4 hours counting in the field, spending time in the field, and it could be very boring, as you said on the beginning of our session. And the mistakes can be the number of mistakes can be increasing comparing to software. Another topic is the time. We have to spend a lot of time and lot of workforce in the field to get all these results. That's it generally for these two graphs from my side. Yeah.
You did your test runs, what we can see here, even in back in 2017, 2018. The good thing is that for our audience is that artificial intelligence system actually grows smarter as the time goes by. So the more we do, the more accurate it is, which is really a good thing. But you mentioned that there are some difficulties when you are measuring something which is straightforward, for instance, as counting the plants. And you also mentioned plant vigor when we were talking about traits. So I wanted to ask you, Zdravko, does this mean that, for instance, determining vigor is even more difficult to measure and maybe more prone to subjectivity? How do you see that?
Yes, early vigor is very interesting. It's depending of genotype and the influence of the agroecological conditions, but mostly in genotype. And this shows us some characteristic of hybrids in this early period of development. And as I said, this is another trait which is connecting with some experience, spending long time in the field. So maybe we can speed up the process and make some standardization in this trait to get more validate results for all users. This trait, stay green, can be very important due to its precision. And as I said, each hybrid has certain characteristics that it exhibits through the speed of losing the green color. And this is a trait that we can track more easily and more quickly through software, as I said before. It is very important for researchers to get data for stay green at a certain time and in very short time. For the answer is very close to these answers connected with plant number, Johan. And if I get some example like in this slide, you can see some field with microplots with different hybrids, different genotypes with different green color. And if I know what is the score of each hybrid, each plot, it's on the first time each plot, for me it's very, very useful.
When I was talking with your colleagues from other companies, they also told me that the issues that they often see and face was fluctuation of people. Simply, somebody will leave the company, and together with them, they would also take their subjective rating standards. I wanted to ask you, do you see that as a threat to your operations? And also another question, have you had a conflict or a situation when you and your colleague are rating a plot with different grades? For instance, you gave it 5, your colleague gave it 7, or vice versa. And how do you even determine who is right, who made a better guess?
Yes, you are right. Sometimes we have such situations, not usually, but sometimes it happens. Because of that, another importance of using drones and software in small plots analysis is in addition to providing real-time data, also in standardizing data that can be used by different users in the same way. As I said, and you said this, sometimes the exchange of information can be very complicated and sometimes it can affect the end results and conclusions and some possible mistakes and misunderstandings. And there is subjective feeling that can cause certain misunderstanding in the later analysis of the data. So, as I said before, I see the using of this software can be improving some standardization of some traits in our analysis.
Yeah, so exactly why I asked that is because what we see here is a screenshot from our platform where you can see actually the plants close up, but also with a CSV, which will show every piece of data that we can extract and maybe further correlate with our colleagues. Anyways, I wanted to thank you, Zdravko, for this great conversation in front of our audience. I hope that you like the conversation as much as I did.
Thank you, Jovan. It's always a pleasure for me to discuss with your team or team of Agremo. I hope that your cooperation with our company and other companies can improve and help all of us to get better and faster results.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind words. While we are on that, I wanted to just to emphasize some of the key points of not just our conversation, but the technology itself. So some of the main aspects is that this kind of technology can shorten the time-consuming process for small trial plots for rating those, and to ease, like I said, boring and what Zdravko actually confirmed, very tiresome process of walking the field. So in less time, with less stress, in better conditions, we can, with drones and Agrimo, we can identify, quantify, and also, as you will see just in a minute, visually preview important parameters of your research. In addition to that, some points, key points of what technology gives us as an advantage is that not only that we will do make it more comfortable and more accurate to you, but we will allow you to have historical and remote data access, so you can actually collaborate with your colleagues regardless of their place of work. Historical access, meaning that you can compare maps and data from different periods, etc. You also get standardized criteria, as AI is applying the same criteria for every plot. In addition to that, you get, like I said, to collaborate with a dispersed team of yours. Some of most important specs of this product that Agrimo launched is, just to remind ourselves, is that you can use any type of drone, including an RGB sensor. In case that you don't have a drone, we have an Agrimo drone network of pilots dispersed all over the world, covering most of the important markets, and we can dispatch a pilot to that position when needed. In addition to that, our technology goes beyond NDVI because we incorporate other important factors such as shape, maybe height, presence of other vegetation into our reports, and our reports are easy to understand. Very important thing is that this is a turnkey solution, meaning that we don't need any other piece of software. So everything is here. And the reports that are mentioned means that you will get your data on app itself, but also you will get shapefile and CSV file, so you can browse through that. The good thing is that this is for those who are already thinking maybe how to budget this for their research, is that this is a flat rate option, meaning that for a fixed cost, you can go out, analyze your plots week after week for the fixed cost, which is really amazing. It is a good investment. So that is something that I wanted to just go through as a recap after the conversations Zdravko and I had. The interesting part, Nicola, you are going to show us some of the important things, how the technology looks like. Nicola is going to give us an overview, so don't worry. You can get more detailed demo, just reach out to us. Please, the Nijo, floor is yours.
Thanks, Joran, for introduction. I will share my screen now. And once again, hello to everyone. It is a great honor to be here in front of all of you and represent Agremo's new product line called R&D microplots for the first time. It is very easy to analyze your small trial plots in just a few clicks. Right now, you can see the Agremo web app and cornfield with small trial plots. We will start by marking the small trial plots you want to analyze. There are several ways we can mark the borders of interest. The easiest way is to import shapefile or KML. In just a few clicks, the borders will be imported. In case you don't know how to create a shapefile, please contact us and Agremo will help you. So as I said, in just a few clicks, here are the borders of your small trial microplots. Okay, they're imported. There is also another tool that Agremo designed in case you don't know, in case you do not have this kind of file. It is called Draw Microplots. With this tool, we can generate plot borders on the go. We just need to type numbers of rows, columns, and other measurements like rotations. With this tool, we can generate plots borders on the go. It is easy, and this tool allows you to define sequence and path and naming of the plots. Nevertheless, you can even hand draw the borders of specific cases if needed. It is very easy to adjust borders. For example, you can move them around, you can delete them, copy on another map. We can also use measurements tools such as a distance tool and measure how far it is or how long the gap is. In this case, we can see the gap is 62 centimeters long. Keep in mind that units can both be in imperial and metric system. Once the borders are created, we can request analysis in just a few clicks. You can select the specific plot or all of them. Once the plots are selected, from the drop-down menu, we will choose analysis, for example, multi-plot stand count report. What is important that this kind of analysis is also suitable for variable rate seeding crops. All you need is to fill in these blanks. And once the blanks are filled in, we will just click on Run Analysis, and our analysis will be submitted. Depending on traffic, you will get back analysis results in 24 to 48 hours. Once the results are done, we can check them on the platform. We can inspect results simply by clicking on desired microplot, or we can insert the plot ID in plot ID section, right here. There is also a panel showing analysis informations and results. This example shows the number of plants per trial plot and plant performance per plot number-wise. We can download, compare, and share these results with our colleagues. The results will be downloaded within seconds, and the folder will also include a CSV file. We know how much CSV file is important for research and development. Therefore, this file carries much information like plot ID, important Agremo AI analysis parameters, number of plants. In addition to that, also all available vegetation indexes, such as EXG or green leaf index. The procedure of requesting another analysis is exactly the same. The only difference can be in the visual display of results. For example, V-detection analysis shows the zones of trial plots in shape of polygons, and in the stats panel, we can see the percentage of the plot covered by the weeds. The CSV file, among the rest of the data, also shows the total weed percentage of the plots. We made it possible to submit multiple analyses on the same field. As we can see in this example, we have 3 different analysis results: plant stress, canopy cover, and plant vigor. Every analysis provides unique information to the user. While we are at it, canopy cover analysis provides information about the exact coverage by leaf area and ground covered area. This is one of the key parameters that indicates a plant health and developing progress. On the other hand, there is a plant vigor analysis that identifies conditions, strengths, and lushness of vegetation. It is showing four different zones with excellent, good, poor vegetation and no vegetation at all. And I think that's about it. As you can see, the whole process of inspecting your small trial plots is now effortless without the boring and time-consuming part of walking the field. Submitting analysis and checking the results can be summed up with just a few clicks, and it doesn't take much time either.
Thank you, Nicola. This was really easy to digest. Thank you for showing us actually how the system works. As I said, please, if you would like to see a more detailed demo explanation, if you have any kind of question, feel free to reach to us. Now you can see actually a QR code, which I encourage you to scan. You will be able to schedule a demo if you are interested in using and discovering more about the product. We can now proceed to Q&A. I see that some questions are popping up. I'm going to read them. There are some for Nicola. I think a couple of questions for Zdravko, maybe for me. But as we don't have too much time, we will try to answer it straightforward, short as possible. And please don't worry if we don't answer something. As you can see, Agrimo team is already typing some messages in the box as answers. We will also email you the answer to your question if we don't manage to go through it right now. So Nicola, first question, I think this is for you. Says Nicola said that some information needs to be added when creating the border or requesting the analysis. Okay. Is there a workaround, as doing that process for 1,000 plots seems exhausting? So can we import that information through shapefile? How does that work?
Of course, the easiest way is to import all those information through the shapefile. The shapefile consists of several columns, and each of the column is recognized by our system, and those data will be important in our system and read by our software.
So no need for typing.
No need for typing several hundreds of times for each plot.
Okay. This could be an interesting question for me. How does the flat rate work? Is there a limit? So yeah, the flat rate works basically that you are paying a fixed price throughout the season per plot, meaning that you can fly on a daily level and request an analysis if that is something that you require. The limit in terms of plots, no, we don't have a limit. If we are talking about a limit in terms of analysis, we just have a precaution of misusing the app. So if you start to behave differently, that would be bad. I will also answer one more question. Says, can Agrimo do the flights? We have drones, but our stations are across the US. Yes, we can do the flights. Like I said, we have a pilot network, especially very present in the US, so we can do that. Nicola, maybe you can jump in on this. Says, can we use it for biostimulants and chemicals, or is this just for seed? Do you want it, or should I simply say it?
Well, I think that the answer from both of us would be yes, it can be used for biostimulants and chemicals, and this tool is very good for scoring those kinds of inputs.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, we do have some partners and clients coming from chemical companies. For instance, on a global level, we are working with Adama from Syngenta Group. So the answer to your question is yes, you can use it both for chemicals and biostimulants. Gentlemen, we are approaching the end of our conversation. So like I said, if you have any additional questions, we would like to connect directly, or you would like to connect directly with Agrimo team, please reach out to us. You also have a QR code. You can also use LinkedIn or other social media channels. I would like to thank our guests for your time. Zdravko, thank you. Nikola, thank you. And to our audience, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.